Greetings. We're in Hout Bay today. It's part of our Patsko, and just to share with community leaders to extend, their challenges through relationships that we've built over an extended period of time. And we also brought along our premier candidate, Faizal, to share the challenges that the community are facing.
Chief Tanya, thank you for that. For our audience, it's an important day again. What we've been doing is going around town looking at different issues and communities. I, in particular, have taken a very different stance. And the stance that I've taken is all parties, and I hope not to do this in the future, is making lots of promises when they visit people. I'm not here again to make promises. I'm again here to listen to what are the issues in Hout Bay.
My name is Jan Lewis. I'm the chairperson of the Peace and Mediation Forum. Peace and Mediation Forum was established in 2011 after a war between the city, Sand Parks, and Western Province against the community. And this war started because of land. Land was being sold by Sand Parks. You see, the injustice in the inequality of the past, it left us as South Africans stranded and frustrated. And when I talk about South Africans, I'm talking about the people of this land, which is the indigenous people. People that start the creation. People that was born out of this earth. It is us, the indigenous people. And to sell land is a crime. Because land doesn't belong to anyone. Land doesn't belong to me. We belong to the land. And it's a crime to sell land that we belongs to. And after this war was established a peace accord. You see, our history is beyond 1652. Our history is the beginning of the creation of this land. See? So we felt as indigenous people it is wrong for Sand Parks to come in and to sell our land. And yet our houses been overcrowded with our kids. No houses was being built before 2010. The last house was built before 2010 was 1994. So we felt it is wrong to come in here and sell land, especially our holy places, which is the mountain. We're saying that our house has been overcrowded. You get houses, especially we have one bedroom with about 12 to 13 people. See? And here, Sand Parks come and just sell land. And for that, for us, was wrong, and we disputed fact. So this piece of land was put on auction in 2009. But simply speaking, the community went there to stop this auction. And when the community stopped this auction, they came back to go look on that piece of land that Sand Parks wanted to put on auction. And because the people went to go live on that land, it became a problem of Sand Parks, city, and Western Province. And in 2010, they came in here without a court order, demolished the structures of people living on the land that they wanted to sell, living on the land that the people is entitled to, because, like I said, we belongs to the land doesn't belong to anyone. However, this war was created and was settled with a peace accord. With this peace accord became a High Court order. Now there's especially one thing in this High Court order, one of the objectives that say that the community, Sand Parks, Western Province, the city is partners. And when you talk about partners, we became one, on one level. But yes, there's a lot of differences between us in terms when it comes to resources, in terms when it comes to income. So, also the other objectives say that the partners, which is part of this peace accord, must seek a sustainable solution that gave rise to the court application. So what gave rise to the court application? Is land, is housing, is education, is social issues. You know? So the parties never came to the party to see how we can seek a sustainable solution. We're not talking about solution, but sustainability. And yet they're still coming in this community to demolish structures where people must live from. See? And they don't even come in even to build houses. They relocate people from an area to another area. Promise these people they're going to build houses. They're going to move back to the area where they was moved from. The people, some of these people are still there since 2014. In terms of housing, we've got time for it in terms of the piece of code. This time frame is outdated because they're supposed to build 302 units. They only built so far since 2011, 72. Promising people buy land and found out at the later stage they cannot build it anymore. This land is not problematic in terms that the environmental department dispute the land. So it says to us as a community, it says to us as indigenous people, someone in the city bought land for housing, they become problematic. Which that person, they got all the knowledge, but they become incompetent. You cannot buy something and find out later on that this is no use. The stuff that the land you buy for housing become now a problem. You cannot use it now anymore for housing.
Whenever you go into a community, the one thing that stands out, that comes to the fore, is that every community that you go into, you find deep-rooted issues. On the surface, I think things always look like heaven, but when you scratch deeper, there are issues laying under in every community. But most of them seem systemic of other issues, and those are the issues that need to be interrogated.
My name is Greg Lowe. I'm the Vice Chair of the Hout Bay Peace and Mediation Forum, but I'm also the Chairperson of the Hout Bay Aquaculture Farmers Secondary Cooperative, which is an economic element of this community. Look, the main thing is that if you look at the sense of the uprise, we call it the uprise of 2010. And that whole uprise of 2010 was built on that we as a community, and specifically the colored community, and specifically indigenous community, were never taken serious. So that's the first thing. Second thing is that there was no relationship between actually government and this community. And if I'm talking about government, it is all three tiers of government. City of Cape Town, Western Cape government, as well as actually national government. There was no relationship itself. Yet, this community, everybody found them here. I mean, like, we can go back where this community come in existence in the 1400s already. Why I brought up the issue of we stretching and this community stretching as far in the 1400s, that the last actually remains that was picked up here just above, which a piece of land that is now been owned by a Israeli. Okay, the remains was picked up there, and unfortunately, those remains, which was actually that lies at present actually with the prof at UCT, would take us actually how far we're coming from here. And so people found us here, and specifically the colored community. So leading all the way and fast tracking down actually to 2010. And plus, this community have contributed towards this new democracy. This community, specifically this community. So why was it that this community have been neglected and been sidelined, even in this new democracy itself? Because one, as I said earlier on, that there was nobody have taken us seriously. So that's the first thing. The second thing was actually there was no relationship. The last housing that was developed here was in 1992. That was the last housing that was developed here. Now getting actually the point of actually 2009, where this sentinel, the landmark of Hout Bay, the Western Cape, Cape Town and the Western Cape, which is a sentinel, in Afrikaans, the hangbeer, right, came up for auction. Now, who was the bidders at that auction? You had the likes of the operas, you had the likes of the Bill Gates, you had the likes actually of Michael Jackson, that was actually ready to auction that. But if you could just go back just before 1994, land parcels, the likes actually of Gebonkelberg, which Russian owns most of it, was bought actually by 4 families just before 1994. And this piece of land, this mountain, was bought for 250,000 rands. Now remember, we're sitting directly opposite that. Now, coming in 2010, where the Sentinel come up for auction, right? This community have disputed it. This community stood up and said, one, based on actually who we are and where we're coming from as indigenous here. 2, that contributed towards this new democracy. But also facing the part of being ready to be evicted off this mountain and being dropped at Blikkies door. Is that actually this community are not going to make it happen? I mean, like, who are we really? And we made it very clear we're very lovely people. 2, we are prepared actually to fight of what is ours. Now, just based on that and facing these things and said, look guys, let us actually, all that we want out of this community, all that we want from this government that we've contributed to, this new government, 1, take us seriously. Build a relationship with us. And if you agreed on those 2 things, all right, we want that in the form of a commitment, but get that commitment in writing. Because we don't want to come back and every 5 years and renegotiate about the spot. Now, we make it very clear, all 3 tiers of government are affected by this. All 3. 1, as indigenous, this is our land, this is our mountain. 2, this is the sea, it's our resources. Okay? By the way, Hout Bay contributed towards the present flourish actually fishing industry that this country is benefiting from. We've built it. The likes of the Oceanas, the likes actually of the INJs, the likes actually of the Lusitanias, the likes actually of all these big fishing corporates, which by the way have been owned by all 5 big families. Okay? Hout Bay, Hangberg have contributed towards this. Now, we said, guys, okay, we as a community are prepared if you commit towards those 4 things. Now, based on that, that was the uprise. We said, yes, actually, if you think actually we are, why is it you want to take away our indigenous rights? Actually, by the way, facing at present, that our government, all 3 tiers of government, national, provincially, and locally, are invoking our indigenous rights here. But it just shows you where we are at present. That 1, yet actually we're sitting with a high court order, the only in this country where all 3 tiers of government have been locked into it. Because that mountain is being administrated by national government in the form of sandparks. Okay? Then you've got actually provincial government also been locked in on the basis because certain parcels in Hangberg and the whole of Hout Bay, right, are provincial government. Okay? Right? That is just on a housing front. And then actually we're still sitting with the biggest parcel of land up here is the city of Cape Town. So you're sitting with rentals, still rentals, right? Which is actually owned by the city, but yet the city haven't even upgraded it. The city wants to sell off those rental dwellers, which is 60 row houses, right? In the state where the bricks are dusted present. And most of those tenants in there are elderlies and singles. But yet the city is actually have forgotten what they've agreed upon in the form of a high court order. Now, all 3 tiers of them, city, province, and sandparks, are in violation of an agreement in their country, in their laws, we are breaking it completely. 1, they are still coming in here 2 weeks ago. All right, the city of Cape Town come and evicted our people. Yet they part of the court order make it very clear that they're not allowed to evict people.
And here one thinks that it's only internationally that you see these tentacles that I speak about, annexing land. It's all about land, it's all about power, it's all about wealth. And therefore I've been saying this DA-led government, be that on a city level or a provincial level, has plugged into a greater scheme of something. Cape Townians are slowly waking up. South Africans are waking up to the realities. But it's stories like this that bear testament to the fact that oppression still lays very deep-rooted in our society. Oppression in a modern-day world that is masked with a corporate identity deep under in society's recesses, taken back by those that used to be an apartheid government of the past that now plays the game with the new jackets.